It's been an up-and-down series for the green and gold. On Monday, the offense exploded, rattling off the long ball early as 3 home runs led the way, and the A's took game 1 of the series. Last night, the offense stalled. Jorge De La Rosa weaved his way in and out of the Athletics lineup, and the Rockies evened the series. As the A's move into July, it was a good month of June for Bob Melvin and the boys. Their first winning month since 2014 saw the team gel offensively, and the young arms in the rotation are showing they are here to stay. It's the rubber game of the series. A's Rockies next. Beautiful day for baseball at the COL Coliseum. It is the rubber game of the series, and the baseball will go to the tall right-hander Jesse Hahn today. Hahn will try to get his 6th win of the year. So it's interleague baseball. It's the Rockies and the Athletics coming up on Comcast Sportsnet California. Hi again, everybody. Welcome to Oakland A's baseball along with Ray Fosse. I'm Glenn Kuiper. The All-Star game is less than 2 weeks away, Ray, and we're pushing for Josh Reddick. He's really had a nice year. He's changed a few things. He's a much better hitter now than he was a couple of years ago. So let's hope he goes to Cincinnati.
You know, I think he's become a smart hitter. You watch how he approaches the shifts. They want to play him to the right side. He's hitting the ball to the left side. He's also hitting home runs and getting big hits with runners in scoring position and 2 outs. And, of course, that makes an all-star. He's done a tremendous job. First inning on Monday night, a 2-run home run on the first pitch, got the A's on the board. But everything he does, and oh, by the way, he's a gold glove outfielder. He can play some defense. He's a complete package. We talked about Tulowitzki. Just like Tulowitzki, Josh Reddick is healthy, and that's the key for any player, and Josh Reddick is proving that he is an all-star. Let's hope he's in Cincinnati.
How about 28 strikeouts in 269 at-bats? That's how far he has come as a hitter. Now, for the Colorado Rockies, we talk a lot about the middle of their lineup, great hitters in the middle of the lineup, but how about their leadoff man, Charlie Blackmon? Probably doesn't get enough credit. He's one of the better all-around players in the National League.
We always think about Ricky Henderson, the all-time greatest leadoff hitter. How about this young man? Charlie Blackmon can hit home runs, as he has done in this series. He can also come up with big hits on hanging curveballs, which he's done in this series. He can play some defense. He has the speed to steal bases. This was a big one last night. Did not pull a 97-mile-an-hour fastball. He adjusted on a slow curveball, drove in the first run of the game. His stolen base ability, playing defense, he's a complete package as well. Maybe not Ricky Henderson, but getting there.
All right, Jesse Hahn and Chad Bettis is our pitching matchup today, a couple of young right-handers, and Ray and I are also going to be answering your questions today during the game. If you have any questions, go to the CSN Bay Area Facebook page, post the question, and we'll hopefully get a chance to answer it on the air. So we'll be doing that throughout today's game. So it's the A's and the Colorado Rockies coming up here on Comcast Sportsnet California. We'll have lineups and first pitch right after this.
Go, A's, go!
is brought to you by Jack in the Box. Taste the new black pepper cheeseburger today, only at Jack in the Box. And by Toyota, the full-line automaker with the longest-lasting vehicles in America. Toyota, let's go places.
So, rubber game of the series, the Rockies and the Athletics under bright sunshiny skies here at the O.co Coliseum. And let's look at the game time weather for today. It's presented by the Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk. Get to the beach. The admission-free boardwalk is open daily. Another warm day, 80 degrees at first pitch with a nice light breeze, 8 miles per hour. Not a lot of humidity, and a gorgeous day for baseball. We like day baseball here at the Coliseum. 12:35 first pitch. And here is the lineup this afternoon for the Colorado Rockies. It starts with Charlie Blackmon in center. DJ LeMahieu back toward the top. He's hitting second. Nolan Arenado at third, hitting third. Carlos Gonzalez, the cleanup hitter. Then Will Rosario, Ben Paulson, Nick Hundley, Daniel Descalso, local kid, gets a start at shortstop, and Rafael Anoa. So Troy Tulowitzki getting the afternoon off.
Jesse Hahn, the start for the Athletics this afternoon. Lost to the Kansas City Royals in his last start. Be a little familiar with the Colorado Rockies start last year, plus a relief appearance. Padres and the Rockies in the same division, National League West. So he has faced at least the name on the front of the uniform a little bit. We'll see how he does against the players whose names are on the back. But Jesse Hahn, good pitcher, and continues to stay in the rotation because of that.
So Rockies won last night 2-1 after the A's won on Monday night. So somebody's going to leave the ballpark happy with a series win. We'll see if it's the Athletics. Hahn is ready, and the first pitch of the ball game to the center fielder Charlie Blackmon is in for a strike.
Yeah, we talked about Blackmon in our open, and you know, you think about a young man who wants to swing the bat. He has the power. You see the 10 home runs, but to take pitches, which is what a leadoff hitter is supposed to do, give a chance for your players to see. In this case, Jesse Hahn. So you need to be aggressive, but a little patient as well. Chris Bassett did a great job last night for the Athletics, and we hope Sonny Gray is doing much better. Sonny missed the start. Looking back to Game 40, Pomeranz started that game, but since then, before last night, it had been the 5-man in the rotation. No changes before last night, so it says a lot about the starters for the Athletics and the success they've been having.
Also says a lot about how sick Sonny Gray was. He had to go to the hospital.
Exactly.
So we don't know when he'll be back to start a game. I guess first you got to start feeling better, then you have to get your strength back. Exactly. So it may be 3-4 days. Who knows?
And you know, Kai, but I made the statement last night, not knowing exactly how Sonny Gray was feeling and how long it would take. But you'd think if Chris Bassett came in for an emergency start, he's still here. He has not been optioned. So there's some concern, at least, that maybe we'll see what happens at Sonny's next scheduled start. But Chris Bassett is still here.
Lead off walk, excuse me.
No, but you just have to look at really a lineup with the number of relievers. Now you have 13 pitchers, so you only have 3 extra guys.
Defensively for the A's today, number 9, Zobrist, Burns, and Reddick in the outfield. Laurie, Simeon, Sogard, Davis on the infield, with Vogt doing the catching. So could it be a situation, Ray, where maybe Bassett stays around for a couple days just to see if Sonny improves?
Well, in a 5-man rotation, the A's do have an off day Monday. We'll buy them a little time. But I think that the biggest concern is, just like you said, you know, in the hospital with an illness, how long does it take to get the full strength back? Because it's a little bit of a drain. Second best to the majors with a 3+ earned run average, 244 in the last 36 games. How about that? Just the 7th starter used this season. Chris Bassett, that was last night.
Well, and the A's do not have, or have not announced a starter for Sunday.
On
the A's notes, and that would be the spot. Tom Hallion is the crew chief, and he is calling balls and strikes today.
Okay, if I correct myself, I said the off day Monday. I forgot today's only Wednesday. So,
yeah, I'm a day behind as well.
It does create, with the 4-game series against the Mariners, that need a starter on Sunday.
1-0 the count to DJ LeMahieu. Athletics come in with a 35-45 record. So game number 81, Ray, we'll be halfway through after today. 15-24 at home are the Athletics, so that's certainly an area they want to improve on in the second half of the season. Usually when you say very close play at first base, Blackman had a big lead.
And Bob Melvin saying let's hold on because Ike Davis gave an indication Blackman was heading towards second base. Swipe tag, and of course he got him. Just a question of his hands on the bag. We'll see with this shot. Did the right hand get to the bag before he got the tag? The A's say it's too close to check. That was very close because he was definitely hitting. So there you have the two beards at first base. So we finally got it.
Not a beard. So 1-0 to LeMahieu. Blackman with a big lead.
And Jesse got to find a way to get down in the strike zone and maybe a curveball, something. And I talked to Drew Pomerantz in Texas whenever he was upstairs with his fastballs, and then threw a curveball, got him back down in the zone.
So a quick meeting between Vogt and his starting pitcher. Blackman, the runner at first, has 21 steals, third in the National League. He's not running, and the pitch is a strike, 2-1. Billy Hamilton leads the majors in steals with 40.
Perfectly thrown pitch, the outside corner. A great one thrown by Jesse Hahn, especially getting it down in the zone. Yeah, Hamilton's one of those guys that, I mean, he and D. Gordon, naturally, they can fly.
He could steal 100 bases, Billy Hamilton. LeMahieu fouls it back. 2-2 the count.
Well, there's some records, as we always talk about, would they be broken? Of course, Ricky Henderson's all-time stolen base record, single season and career. But in the case of Hamilton, there's always the possibility. Ricky, a great leadoff hitter, most stolen bases, most runs. He did it all as a leadoff hitter. But you look at the number of years you have to play to match those kind of numbers. Will they play that long?
2-2 pitch. Bounce towards second. Sogard has it. He'll tag the runner, throw to first, and that's a double play. So Blackman kind of ran right into it and made it a little bit easier of a play for Sogard.
Well, Sogi charges the ball, and that's the key. And always cool, calm, and collected for Sogard. And really, Blackman was kind of caught to the point that he could do nothing except run over Sogard. And Sogi charged the ball, and at that point, there's the base runner. He tried to stop and backpedal, but could not. Sogard got him. Quick throw to first base. And regardless, if he had thrown to first and Blackman had been not called out, he'd been a run down, probably would have gotten the double play anyway.
Expo brought to you by Cache Creek Casino Resort. So 2 outs for Nolan Arenado. Arenado, big swing. And that got the umpire. Well, you could hear that up here.
Ron Shulman, one of the A's trainers, coming out to take a look at Tom Hallion, and Stephen Vogt immediately pointed the A's dugout for some assistance. And when Vogt moved out, look at how Vogt's outside, and then
man,
that's a straight on shot. And maybe we get the center field camera. Take a look at this one. Vogt is outside, and there's your home plate umpire completely exposed, and Tom Hallion right off the mask. And
you know, Ray, I know you catcher for a long time. You know what that feels like. I can't imagine what that feels like. Boy, it just cannot be.
It's really hard to describe other than the fact that it hurts.
Yeah.
I mean, and really, it takes some time, and that's why Hallion has taken some time. And Renee Latchman, you know, a longtime catcher and a coach, of course, and he said, "How many concussions do you have?" I said, "I don't know." But see, they've only started looking at concussion symptoms. And that's why they're paying attention to the home plate umpire. As Latch knows, as a former catcher, you take balls off the mask, and you know those things happen. But now they're paying a lot more attention, which they should.
Sure. And it's got to be. It's different than getting hit in the leg or the arm or the shoulder.
Well, you know, just something that happens with your head. And, you know, you really look in the eyes. And I've said it before, when your eyes start moving around,
sure,
you know something's going on in there. And, you know, it's just part of it. But I still say, and I know I've mentioned the word slot, and umpires will say they get in a slot. But, man, if I were an umpire, I'd get as much protection as I could behind the catcher.
Right behind the catcher.
Exactly. And, you know, it's just unfortunate that those things happen. But as a catcher moves, and again, the center field camera, look at Stephen Vogt, where he's positioned outside. But Tom Hallion did not move over to him. He stays behind the plate. Vogt is going to the corner. And as a result, his whole body, with the exception of his right leg, is completely exposed to whatever might happen. And unfortunately, it was a foul ball off of Arenado. And then you know how hard he swings the bat, and a ball off his bat. So they're taking the cautionary time, which they should. And boy, when in doubt, get another umpire. You do not want to take a chance. Yeah, they're going to change right now.
Are, yeah. And I remember we had this a couple years ago. The umpire from Santa Cruz,
Bill Miller,
and he stayed out there for an inning, and you could tell he was not right, and
that
they
was
got him out
against the Angels and Zach Greinke. It was a cross-up or something happened and went right over the catcher. And so, you know, really, this is the best thing. And Jesse Hahn has to throw also, so he's going to have the umpires move around because it's going to take a while for the umpire. We assume Alfonso Marquez, and maybe we don't know who's going to be there, but he's next in line to be behind the plate.
I believe it is Marquez that ran in. So we're going to step aside, and let's hope Tom Hallion's going to be okay. No score here in the top of the first.
A's fans, this Bud's for you. At the Budweiser.
And he has left the game. Alfonso Marquez is inside putting on the umpire's gear. And boy, this is...
And it's a foul ball. So Stephen Vogt puts his glove up where the ball has been thrown to catch it. But once Arenado foul tipped the ball, direct hit to Tom Hallion and Alfonso Marquez. And again, better be safe than sorry. So Tom Hallion, veteran umpire. And most times the umpires have to be forced to leave. But in this case, the other three umpires in the crew probably demanded to get some attention and just take the rest of the day off.
All right, one thing we're doing today, which should be kind of fun, we're answering fans' questions. Now, you can get a question to us by going to our Facebook page at CSN Bay Area, the Facebook page. And our first question today comes from Wendy Nathan. Do either of you ever make comments or suggestions to players or coaches? Oh, you know what? That's a good question. I would say we certainly talk to the players and coaches, but I've never really made any suggestions. You have a little more pull than I do, Ray, but I think you got to be a little bit careful there.
It's usually when asked.
Yeah.
I mean, you never offer. It's hard to offer things. I mean, the one thing that we have the ability to do is to watch a monitor. We see, I mean, the great crew between the Tommy Ads, the director, Delores, producer, Josh. I mean, they put all the information and they show everything, just like Jesse Hahn running back the mound. We see things that maybe they don't see down in the dugout or in the bullpen. And I'll be honest with you, there are times when Renee Latchman was working with the catchers here with the Athletics back in the late 80s. I would say to Latch, I'd say, you know, if you get a chance, I know you look at the video, just watch something that might be going on. And, you know, it would go to him, but he would be the one going to the player. It's really, Terry Steinbach was a catcher here for many years, and he told me, he says, don't worry about anybody else. You see something I'm doing, come to me. So, I mean, it does vary. But the one thing I think we have to be really concerned about, cognizant, is that you don't want to step on any toes.
No.
And that's the last thing, because the coaches do a great job, manager does a great job. And if there's something that they ask us, then, yeah, we can say we saw this and we've seen different things, and, you know, then they can pursue it. But it's hard because the time they spend, the work they put in, you never want to take anything away from what they're doing, and you don't want too many voices.
Yeah, so I mean, it's not uncommon for a player or a coach after a game or the next day to ask us, you know, I mean, what did you guys think of that play? What did you see on that play? Because we do have all the monitors and all the replays. But as far as us giving suggestions to the players or to the coaches, I mean, I certainly don't do that. But I do think the coaches are a good source of information. Sure. I mean, you can ask them things about stuff that's going on, and they're not going to give away any trade secrets, but they will. I guess my point is the coaches are a nice place to go for you and I for information. Right. Players are a little bit different, although I think you can. But
it's coaches at least will talk about it, and they're never going to disclose. I mean, there's so much information out anyway, scouting reports, social media, there's so many things that are out there anyway. It'd be hard to find something that's not already there. But if a coach is working, you know, what Mike Gallego and Ron Washington are working on in the infielders, Marcus Semien, you know, there's a lot of talk about that. But, you know, what are they working on? And they'll be happy to talk. And really it helps us because then we can show it. Mm-hmm. And for the fans to be able to see what certain guys are working on.
And another question from Patrick, who is an interesting question. If the A's were playing an opening series outside the U.S., where would you guys want to travel? Well, A's have been to Tokyo. Ray, you have made that trip. I always thought Australia, which was it the Diamondbacks and the Dodgers 2 years ago opened in Australia. I've heard Australia is a wonderful country. That would be a fun place to go.
I was hoping the A's would be selected as a team to go, because that would be great. And I know when we were in Tokyo, the representative from Australia was there kind of petitioning and showing all the great things about Australia and why it would be a good place to open a series, a season. I mean, the Tokyo trip was a long trip, but it was very worthwhile. Spend a week in Tokyo, and a place that I'd never been, so it was great. And, of course, the players playing the exhibition games and the 2 regular season games against the Mariners. But, you know, some people say that it would become a worldwide event. The problem is, with the travel already horrendous in the continental United States, you know, to leave the country to go across the pond, as they say, to try to play some games.
You're going way across.
Yeah, I mean, and how do you do that, and when do you do it?
And London would be London would not be a nearly as long of a trip. That would be a nice place. What about Cuba? That's interesting.
It's probably going to be interesting. Yes,
certainly
there's been some exhibition games.
Not going to happen right now, but the way things are going, it could be something that could be a possibility a couple years down the road. That would be very interesting. Games have been played in Puerto Rico.
Yeah. And just to clarify, and the reason it's taken as long as it is, just imagine a home plate umpire has to disrobe, basically, put on shin guards. He has the inside chest protector with shoulder pads, and then he has to get dressed again. So what Alfonso Marquez is doing is what Tom Hallion did to start this game. I mean, he started getting dressed for his duties behind the plate. Unlike the base umpires who just come out in the blue shirt and the blue slacks. And this is why we're in a delay now, because Tom Hallion, unfortunately, took a direct hit off the mask, off a swing by Nolan Arenado, off the bat, foul tip, and he has been assisted off the field. And Alfonso Marquez, who is a first base umpire, in getting dressed, and See Raymond down there. Looks like he is coming out to make his entrance. And you know, Jesse Hahn had been in the dugout, and it's important for Marquez to see a few pitches from Hahn. So Jesse will almost be like in between innings, where he will take his 8 warm-up tosses and resume play. But Marquez, the home plate umpire, always wants to see some pitches thrown by the starting pitcher. Pitcher in this case would be Jesse Hahn. And he'll get a chance to see Bettis, who has been down in the bullpen, continue to warm up as well.
So Hahn, a couple more warm-up tosses, and we'll get back to action with Nolan Arenado, the hitter.
You know, Cap, I always wondered about umpires, because there's a rotation. You're behind the plate, then the next 3 days you're on the bases, and then back behind the plate. You know, what it's like, you know, and there is now a rotation with Tom Hallion. So there's 3 umpires, and he's saying the count is a ball and actually a strike. 0-1. So they have the rotation. Dale Scott was hit when we were on the road trip. It was in Texas, and we went to 3 umpires. Dale Scott hit in the left hip, had to leave the game for a couple of innings, did come back. And now different strike zone.
That's true.
From Tom Hallion to Alfonso Marquez. So if you're a pitcher or catcher who studies the umpire strike zone, you have to go back and do some quick research.
So the game started with Blackman hitting a walk, and then DJ LeMahieu hit into the double play. So that's where the 2 outs have come from. Swing and a miss. So 2-2 to Arenado. 24 home runs and 68 RBIs.
Well, it's nice from the A standpoint. They pitched him well, because he came in with those numbers and still there, although he's been getting some singles. Definitely a strong hitter.
And he skies this one to shallow left. Simeon goes out. He's got it side retired. So no damage done by the Rockies. We're going to the bottom of the first. Burns will lead it off. No score. Athletics. It has Burns in center, Vogt behind the plate, Zobrist in left, Reddick in right, Butler the DH, Ike Davis at first, Brett Laurie at third, and then Sogard and Simeon down at the bottom.
Chad Bettis on the mound for the Rockies, the right-hander who last year got a taste of the big leagues out of the bullpen, but in the rotation starting against the Athletics, and full complement of pitches. And I don't know if any pitcher ever talk about does not have a 2 and a 4-seam fastball, which means a 4-seam straight, 2-seam with some sinking action, but he is making his 10th start on this young season.
So Bettis is ready, the 26-year-old. And his first pitch to Burns is a fastball away. Burns hitting .317 with a couple of home runs, 1 for 8 in this series. Slaps that one foul up over top of the A's bullpen. Second round pick of the Rockies in 2010 from Texas Tech. Born in Lubbock. And getting a shot in the rotation. His last start, he beat the Giants last week when the Rockies were over there in 6 innings. Trying to build off that, so he's actually won his last 2 starts, beat the Brewers and the Giants. Fouled at the plate.
First curveball of the afternoon from the right-hander, 4th pitch, and Billy Burns saw it and kept alive. And Billy, we may see Billy one day foul off 10 or 15. Who knows? I mean, he's that good with the bat, kind of a magician with it. And remember, he's a rookie. It's the amazing thing.
Continues to lead all major league rookies with 71 hits and 16 stolen bases. Chops that one foul. I think the name that you hear the most when comparing a former player to Billy Burns is probably Brett Butler.
Yeah.
You hear that, it's probably the name you hear the most.
Current player Ichiro still in the National League now with the Marlins.
Descalso starting at shortstop today in place of Tulowitzki. So 1 out here in the first. Rockies defense has Rafael Anoa in left field, Charlie Blackmon in center, Carlos Gonzalez in right, Arenado, Descalso, LeMahieu, Paulson with Nick Hundley doing the catching. So a day off for Troy Tulowitzki. I think the Rockies are just happy enough that this makes any sense. He's healthy enough to have to give him a day off.
Yeah. He was saying, of course, growing up in the Bay Area and watching both teams, both sides of the Bay, and he said it's been a great week to spend here because his dad's got a chance to watch him play, and he said a 1.5-year-old son. He said even though he doesn't know what's going on, but you know, from a player standpoint, to look up and know they're there, you know, it's Tulowitzki has really enjoyed the time here and does take the day off.
It's funny that the young man who's playing in place of him, Descalso, also from the Bay Area. So I would imagine he has very much enjoyed 6-7 days at home.
Yeah.
Well, that would be nice if you were a big league player to be home for a whole week where you grew up.
Yeah. I know Jesse Hahn talked about his dad back in Boston. Jesse didn't pitch, but said he could just see kind of the gleam in his eyes that just proud. I mean, you're a proud father to know your son's pitching Major League Baseball, and especially to have the success that Jesse's having. And I'm sure they will be in New York when the A's are back next week. Jesse's family back on the East Coast, and they'll be looking forward to seeing him when he comes back.
Descalso has it right behind second base. That's out number 2. Well, if Jesse Hahn is pitching today, that would line him up for Tuesday.
I was just thinking that, guy, because with the off day Monday, and we were talking about the need for a starter on Sunday, and it's on a great spot, whether it be Chris Bassett or Sonny comes back. The Jesse Hahn, yes, with the off day, should get Yankee Stadium Tuesday night. And I'm sure the Hahn family and friends would be coming in and watching him pitch.
So 3 in New York Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then 3 in Cleveland Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And that ends the first half of the season. Ben Zobrist, 258, 5 home runs and 29 RBIs. Zobrist is 2 for 7 in the series. One of those hits a double. He has scored a run. Outside, 3-0.
To Stephen Bowden and a couple of strikes and grounded out the shortstop. think this is a case of seeing a pitcher for the first time, and three guys in the lineup that have seen him, but minimal amount of at bats against this right-hander coming to the big leagues last year for the first time.
Two-week stretch coming up. You see the big 4-game series against the Mariners. 2 night games, 2 day games, and check out the start time on Friday. Don't forget that. Fireworks will be after that game, and then 4th of July is a day game. New York and Cleveland. That one bounced just fine. Now Felix Hernandez is going to pitch on Saturday. In fact, as I look great, Taijuan Walker is pitching today. In fact, he's pitching right now in San Diego. The A's will face 3 left-handers this weekend. Elias, Happ, Hernandez, and Montgomery. Of course, Felix Hernandez the only right-hander. So a little challenge for the A's. Little cue shot, stays fair, and it rolls down toward the bullpen, and Zobrist is going to have a double. So the infield was slid over just enough for that cue shot to get past Arenado.
And Zobrist get there, and everybody can say that makes up for those bullets that are hit and caught. And curveball, and it was cued off the end of the bat. Inside out swing by Ben to at least the first base runner in scoring position. So the A's one opportunity, at least one, driving men. Like that play.
So Reddick, chance for an early lead. Reddick swings and misses. Talked about Reddick in the open of our show and the fine season he is having. 11 home runs, 48 RBIs. And his chances to maybe be an all-star in a couple of weeks. He homered on Monday.
This might have changed the whole series pitching against him, because he got a first pitch fastball from Hale and a 2-run shot, giving the A's a 2-0 lead. Since then, a lot of curveballs he's been seeing. Did not start last night against De La Rosa.
2-pitch fastball up and away. The most RBIs as an outfielder in the American League. Now that's just when he's playing out in right field, which is pretty much every day. He is among the league leaders in that category. So RBIs as an outfielder, Reddick is second behind JD Martinez. He Trout's underneath there, but Trout occasionally DHs. And Reddick pops it up, Arenado into foul territory, and he's got it side retired. Zobrist just stranded at second, so we're on to the second, no score. Another question from our fans. Bill Washburn asked, why aren't base coaches required to stay in their boxes? Well, I think the box is just kind of a mere suggestion of where you may want to stand. I think it's probably safety, if nothing else.
That one word is the key. That's why the base coaches have to wear helmets, because they put themselves in positions where I figured that was going to happen.
Zobrist picks it up quickly, forcing Gonzalez to hustle into second. He makes it.
But it is safety, because if you're in the batters or in the coaching box and you're watching the players on the bases, you're very vulnerable for line drives. As Eric Young, first base coach, former major league player, wearing the helmets, and third base. I mean, if these guys, now he's going to be looking at the runner at second base. He's going to turn his body to the side.
Well, that's where they're most vulnerable right now.
Exactly.
With the third base coach, who's Stu Cole.
But if he's watching a hitter, that means he's not paying attention to the middle infielders who might be breaking in behind Carlos Gonzalez. And I think the one that we saw, Ryan Butterfield, the excellent third base coach for the Red Sox, he was shaking hands with the fans. He was so close to the stands that he was afraid of Ramirez. I mean, you look at the powerful hitters. They get out in front and pull a ball, and you've got your back turned. While the helmet's going to protect you a little bit, the rest of your body's going to be exposed.
0-1 to Will Rosario, 305 with 5 home runs. Fouls that one straight back.
Crackerjack used to have the Crackerjack Old Timers game played at RFK Stadium when it was a football stadium, so the stands in left field about 250 feet because the football alignment. But they would bring in players who were 65 to 80, and then Johnny Bench, who just retired, and the third baseman played in the left field foul line. I mean, all the way down the line and try to hide, because if Bench got out in front of one, you're not going to react that quickly. And that's kind of what a third base coach, Stu Cole, I mean, he's in front of the box now, but he's watching Carlos Gonzalez at second base, because the job of a coach is to let the runner at second know who might be breaking in behind him. No chance for Sogard, but Simeon's close and trying to be available if he comes to third to try to score him.
That one tapped foul behind home plate. So 0-2 the count with Ben Paulson, left-handed hitter, waiting in the on-deck circle. So the A's got a double in the bottom of the first, but it was with 2 outs. The Rockies get a double leading off the second inning. Fastball high, 1-2. Rosario is 1 for 7 in this series. Outfield shifted toward right field for Rosario. And now 2-2 the count. It's a good looking hat.
Got his handlebar mustache.
Reached for and hit high in the air toward Zobrist, and Zobrist has it. All right, we got another question from our viewers. This one is from Rachel Lawrence, and it's a very simple yet important question. What is your favorite food at the ballpark? See, that's a hard question for Ray and I, because ballpark food for us is different than ballpark food for the fans. But I still think having a hot dog and a beverage at the ballpark is about as good as it gets. Although nowadays ballparks have just about everything you can imagine. The basics are still the best.
Like Klay Thompson before the NBA Finals eating nachos down behind the dugout.
Do what you got to do. And that's going to be an important 90 feet as Gonzalez goes to third. Now Rachel will keep it basic. The hot dog.
Yeah, the hot dog. Overthrown fastball, and Stephen Vogt trying to backhand the ball in the dirt, but boy, what a great pitch to get Rosario out with a curveball. Popped him up. Keep the runner at second base, and now a wild pitch. A wild pitch brings the infield in. Of course, Jesse Hahn, a ground ball pitcher, which is always good. That way you can play the infield in, hoping for a ground ball.
Paulson fouls at left side. But we do, as far as food goes, for announcers and the press working people. Every stadium has a press room. A couple hours before the game, we go eat in there. Sit down. Talk about the game, catch a few laughs, have a good dinner. 1-1 pitch, swing and a miss.
Well, I know at Oak County Stadium, they always enjoyed it there because brewing the brat.
Good call.
Good brats there if they prepared in the press room. And then, of course, during the game, you'd have a brat of 2 or 3, or Bill King had 4 or 5.
How could you stop? Tough to lay off. 1-2 pitch foul straight back. And some press rooms are better than others.
Yeah.
Press room at the new Yankee Stadium is pretty tough to beat. That one's got.
Well, you talked about the Taj Mahal. Yeah, I mean, the baseball field in itself is great, but the $1 billion they spent around it, the inner workings of the new Yankee Stadium, which is beautiful.
That one bounced towards Sogard. He's going to come home, and the throw is there, and Gonzalez is out. Well executed by the A's as Sogard, he had enough time, he took his time, and he made a good throw to Vogt.
Contact play. Walt Wise put the play on, and that means as soon as contact is made, the runner from third takes off. Gonzalez. And Cap, we talked in our open and the guys in San Francisco about cool calmness, and Eric Sogard is as smooth as there is. No panic from his standpoint. He knows, good throw. Stephen Vogt gets the ball plenty of time, gives the back lane to the runner, and so no possibility of any challenge there because Carlos Gonzalez had the back of the plate to slide to. Stephen Vogt knew that, got the ball, made the tag, and nice combination. And there's your ground ball, infield in, getting the runner at the plate.
So 2 outs for Hundley.
And I would say, Cap, if you're going to have to play the infield in early in the game, you want a ground ball pitcher, and you want a throw made by Eric Sogard. That's a catcher's delight there, to catch a ball about belt high. Plenty of time to make your decision what you're going to do with the runner coming in.
2-0 now to Hundley.
This is always critical to see where he is and positioning, and that's in front of the plate. And you always, well, you have to give it lane, as they say now, and the lane is basically to the plate. You cannot completely block the plate without the ball. If you have the ball, you can. You could also be run over if you have the ball and you're blocking the plate. A rule that probably a lot of players don't know.
Missed again outside. So 3-0 to Nick Hundley with Daniel Descalso, a left-handed hitter, due to hit next. That one just a bit high, a 4-pitch walk.
16th annual A's Root Beer Float Day is set for Wednesday, July the 22nd. A's players, coaches, local celebrities, and more will serve fans root beer floats for $3 each. Proceeds will benefit the JDRF, adding to more than $400,000 the event has raised throughout the years. Sugar-free floats will be available. Special thanks to Dryer's Ice Cream and Zevia. The zero-calorie soda for product donations. Admission is free with a game ticket. And speaking of ballpark food, Root Beer Float Day, we usually will be given a root beer float.
Sure.
So we can talk about it. Having 1, 2, 3, 4.
Always a fun day, root beer float.
I like root beer floats. Those are good. You got to put the beverage in first, and then the ice cream, and then beverage more.
Yeah,
because it's going to.
You got to top it off.
Yeah. You got to. There's a technique. It's got to be soft ice cream. You cannot have hard pan. You got to make it soft and make it easy.
The line is always very long in Ray Fosse's line at Root Beer Float
That's
Day,
because you're standing right there and they want to see you. That's it.
Everybody just wants to spend a small amount of time with Mr. Fosse. Get a picture taken maybe. 0-2 to Descalso. Swing and a miss. He struck him out. So Hahn gets out of the jam. A couple of runners stranded. And we're going to the bottom of the second. It'll be Butler, Davis, and Laurie. No score. Last night for Sonny Gray. He went 5 innings, 5 hits, 1 run, and 3 strikeouts on 84 pitches. Pitched well. The offense just did not help him out a whole lot. So Chris Bassett is our T-Mobile game changer. And he's probably on hold right now a little bit. He and Sonny Gray. See who will pitch on Sunday.
Well, very impressive, especially on 3 days rest, to be able to throw this high in velocity of 97 miles per hour. And again, I think as we talked, and going down to AAA, building up the arm strength, and while his record was not probably what he wanted it to be, but at least got an opportunity to start at Nashville and called up here to make the start when the A's needed somebody.
Butler drives one to left. Anoa's back, still going back, and it's over his head. And Anoa crashes into the wall, and Billy Butler is going to second. Billy Butler's going to dig for third, and he's going to make it as Anoa stays down right at the base of the wall. So Anoa now getting up slowly.
Oh, that's always dangerous because an outfielder with the ball over the head and you're trying to concentrate on the baseball. And Billy Butler's going to watch himself run while we watch Walt Weiss, the trainer, go out to check on Anoa. Hanging slider kind of in the middle of the plate. Looked like a little bit towards the end of the bat, but Anoa had it go over his head. And once it did that, his momentum as he reached up right there, may have gotten a glove on it and then banged hard on the right side of his body into the padded wall. And he's padded, which helps, but the concentration fully on the baseball. Just barely, almost made a remarkable catch, but then about 4 steps banged into the wall. And sometimes there's a post, and I think he missed it. I think he got right in the middle, but still banged the right side of his body in.
Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, listen, the whole wall is padded, but it's not, we're not talking about a foot of padding here.
Well, and even if there's padding, he went in as hard as he did.
Exactly.
That padding compresses very quickly, and
you can see the depth of the padding right there.
Great shot. And remember, that also is a temporary fence because of football, so it's going to give a little bit. It's not really rigid.
So he's going to stay in the game. Looked like I thought initially maybe it was his knee, but maybe they were checking out his side too a little bit.
Butler's been hitting the ball home run to center field, going opposite field with a base hit last night. This, the breaking ball out in front, and the defensive alignment. Renee Latchman put this down for Billy Butler. Spray chart, left field, which is a rare. Oh, we know it's a rare triple. I'd like to see Billy Burns on that play. He's at beat up to 1-0. I
think you're right. So Ike Davis steps infield halfway.
There's the binder for Renee Latchman.
And that one's bounced to the first baseman, Paulson, who steps on the bag. And Butler stays. So, Ray, positioning there, you saw the infield halfway. I mean, they were in, but not all the way in. Is that just because of Butler's speed or lack of? Or you really don't have to?
You don't have to play. With Billy Burns, they'd be on the grass. Yeah. Billy Butler, they can play halfway because while he may go on contact, he obviously wasn't going on that one. He may not go on contact at all in this situation, even now with one out. Make sure the ball goes through, but if it's a ground ball and he does go on contact, by the time the infielder's playing at that distance, they can cover more ground and still be able to throw him out to plate if he decides to run. These are the at-bats that we've talked about, and one of the questions about, I mean, here's your experience. Ike Davis has been around, but it got a pitch that he thought he could do something with in the first one, but Bettis threw a good sinker and kept the ball down.
2-0 to Laurie. Sogard is the on-deck hitter. Laurie was just taken all the way, and the pitch is a ball, 3-0.
I think he thought he's going to get exactly what he got, something other than a fastball.
And that one bends him back out of the way, and it's a 4-pitch walk. So first and third, one out for Sogard. Hey, CSN's Authentic Fan Fridays are back at the Coliseum, and we got one coming up against the Mariners. Get a ticket in our value deck behind home plate, an Authentic Fan scarf, a cheer card, and a $6 food and drink voucher, all for one great price. That's coming up this Friday night. There is the value deck. It's a great seat, and it'll be nice weather on Friday for the A's and the Mariners. 4-game series.
Infield back at double play depth now with the runner at first. And
left field should be interesting. Anoa's got it. Here comes Butler. Here comes the throw to the plate, way offline. Butler scores, and the A's take a 1-0 lead.
Well, fortunately, Mike Gallego knows the arm strength or lack of these outfielders, even in the interleague play, because Eric Sogard and Noah in left field set up perfectly, got behind the ball, came in, arm strength 0. Straight down into the ground. Even Arenado with Butler or with Laurie going to second base immediately with the throw coming to the plate. Eric Sogard does the job, gives the A's a 1-0 lead. The speed of Billy Butler. Triple. Billy Butler gets the A's on the board.
So the RBI for Sogard, his 20th of the year. Simeon, a shot to Arenado. Nice play to his left, flips to first side, retired. He's a Gold Glover, folks, and he just showed us why. A run for the A's, so 1-0 Athletics after 2.
dressed in an A's jersey wearing elephant ears. 15,000 fans can pick up and hug the Hello Kitty bobblehead on Saturday, July the 18th. I'm just reading this. Visit athletics.com/tickets today. I do not know that I'll be hugging this Hello Kitty bobblehead. I don't think I ever have, even when the girls were young and had Hello Kitty. I never hugged a Hello Kitty bobblehead.
It's really become popular. I know my 7-year-old daughter asked me the other day, Dad, when's the Hello Kitty bobblehead? And I said, it's sometime in July. And that's all she needed to know.
And she said, Dad, I don't care who the A's are playing.
And her next question was, how soon until July?
Today?
It's today.
Today, July 1st. And we welcome in a new month.
That's right. June in the books. Noah slowly hit towards Simeon, and the throw is wide, and it's into the seats, and that one's going to hurt. An E6, and Noah's going to end up at second base.
Well, it's too bad because he charged it nicely, knew he had to charge the ball, get it, and then watch the arm angle. Got underneath and threw straight up, and Ike Davis jumped as high as he could not come down with it, and instead of the first out of the inning, an E6.
25 for Simeon, 77 now for the Athletics, 15 more than second team, the Rangers. So now a runner at second, nobody out. Charlie Blackmon steps in. Shows bunt, reached for it, and it's called a strike. Opponents have reached on an air Major League leading 14 times when Jesse Hahn is on the mound. So he's kind of felt the wrath of all those errors.
But I recall also a game in Kansas City that he pitched. He had the 13 ground ball outs. There was an error running third, nobody out because of an error, got out of the jam.
That was a foul.
I'm thinking about pretty good shortstop, American League Rookie of the Year 1988, a man named Walt Weiss, who's managing the Rockies right now. And for Walt Weiss, he played on 3 consecutive A's teams, 88, 89, and 90, went to the World Series. And he was a rookie in 88, Rookie of the Year, playing on the team that won the American League Championship, lost to the Dodgers in the World Series. But he was good.
And Blackmon cannot hold up. Big strikeout. So 1 out. So with the month of June gone, these are some of the best individual performances. Best records, Blue Jays and Cardinals. And then Albert Pujols with 13 home runs. It's the best in the American League. Manny Machado, a big month, 42 hits. And Giovanni Gallardo had a terrific month of June, so he's really turned his season around. Struggled a little bit early.
How about Chris Sale with 75 strikeouts?
Yeah. 75 in a month.
He blew everybody away.
Yes, he did.
I mean, his record's 2-2, 183 earned run average, 75 strikeouts. Chris Sale. And there's some teams with a new scheduling and interdivisional. Some teams you only play 6 times.
That's right. Because
you may only see a pitcher like that. I mean, see Felix Hernandez 6 times a year. Chris Sale. So the Angels or the Royals over the weekend finished with them. This is changing signs. Maybe something happened with Noah at second base that there was a concern with the signs given. So Sogard comes in. He's now telling Simeon what the sequence is. And Noah said, I wasn't saying anything, guys. You're doing all this. I didn't do anything. But he may have been doing something. But good time to change up the signs.
Again fouled by LeMahieu. So the count 0-2. So the Blue Jays go 18-9 in June. Orioles won 18-10. A's won 15-12. So they had a good month.
Well, that 3 over 500 in a month is a good sign for the Athletics having a winning month, which is good.
Close pitch. Call the ball. So after a very tough May, indeed, the A's bounce back. And looking for something even better in July. Is overall the A's 10 games under 500 and 11 games back in the AL West. Graveman, what a month he had. The Astros went 15-14. The Rangers went 14-13, and the Angels went 14-13. Seattle not good, 11-16. Those are June records.
And that was with a new power hitter, Mark Trumbull.
Twins had the worst June record in the American League at 11-17. 1-2 pitch, swing and a miss. He struck him out. Tough series for LeMahieu.
Well, a little bit extra on a fastball from Jesse Hahn. I saw it with Chris Bassett last night. Jesse Hahn has a good heater, and he just showed it with outside part of the plate. And LeMahieu not able to catch up to a mid-90s fastball from Jesse Hahn. I mean, that's great weapon to have. A four-seam fastball to go along with a great two-seamer for the ground balls, but need a strikeout. Runner at second. There because of an error. Get a chance to back-to-back strikeouts with fastballs.
So here's Arenado. Side corner strike. So be careful with Nolan Arenado. You do have a base open. .448 average with runners in scoring position for Nolan Arenado. He is 2 for 9 in the series. And one more note on the month of June, Ray. See where the Tigers won 11-13. So since May 1st, the Tigers are 24-29.
Hard to believe. It is really hard to believe.
They're trying to figure out what the heck's going on.
They'll figure it out.
They will figure it out. Simeon charges, scoops, throws in time, and Hahn gets out of it. So a runner stranded at second, and we are going to the bottom of the third. A's with a 1-0 lead.
Special includes an 18-person suite, 3 VIP parking passes, and a generous food package, all for just $990. That is a great deal. For more information, call 510-638 double.
No. Go A's. Go Burns. And he's going to have a triple, and it's not even going to be difficult as he eases into third. So for the second inning in a row, back-to-back triples for Billy Burns. It really
can't have a promo with Billy Burns hitting. I mean, he never takes a pitch. 510-638 go A's or visit athletics.com/summersuite. Billy Burns doing what he does best. Infield playing in as the first baseman Paulson was, and down in the corner. Billy Burns hits a ball down the right field corner. He can just glide, and that's all he's doing is gliding. He's not even running hard. Hit the triple in San Diego, almost caught Scott Kazmir, who was at first, ended up scoring.
Infield in, and the pitch to Vogt, curveball for a strike. Vogt grounded out to the shortstop in the first inning. He is 2 for 8 in the series. Rolls that one foul.
Well, watch Billy Butler on this play. I mean, Billy Burns. Billy, and look at the difference. Maybe we could do a split screen of Burns and Butler running on their triples, because he's going to take time to adjust his helmet as it's about to fall off in round third. 10 seconds.
Grounded to LeMahieu, who scoops, flips to first, and Burns stays at third.
If there were one out, he would have been going, but that was to make sure the ball went through. It did not, so Hayes will have to do it again. As Sogar did with a sac fly following the Laurie walk. Davis could not get the runner in from third. That was Billy Butler. Billy Burns, though, and Kai, just as you mentioned about the infield, here's your difference. The way they're positioning with Billy Burns.
Sure.
And Butler halfway. These guys are on the edge of the infield grass.
It's about 3 steps difference.
Yeah. And that's because of the speed of one Billy Burns.
Zobrist had a double down the third base line in the first inning.
And Zobrist has had some great at-bats in these situations. 10 for 15. Running at third, less than 2 outs. And this is the non-panic situation, and how hitters can learn in these situations, because it's a gift run at third. You put the ball in play in the air through the infield. Jesse Hahn already has 1 run that he got last inning with a triple.
LeMahieu juggles. Burns stays at third, 2 outs. LeMahieu had that in-between hop, and he really smothered it. And you know, you're smothering it, you're also thinking about the runner taking off from third, but he stayed with it to get the out.
Another surprise, that was not a contact play, and you're right, his head was up looking to see what Billy Burns was doing, and as the ball came up, hit him in the heel of the glove, he probably breathed a sigh of relief, realizing that Burns was not running. I thought with 1 out he would be. Zobrist very upset not getting the runner in.
So now it's up to Reddick. Everybody eases off on the infield. He can back up. Reddick's been good in these spots. Heck, he's been great in these spots. So 2-0 now. Reddick fouled out in the first inning. A 2-0 breaking ball, so that's a good pitch. Dropped right in there for a strike. And probably a good pitch not to swing at.
Exactly. And it's just like with Brett Laurie taking the 2-0 also on the off-speed pitch.
There's a base hit right field. Big hit for Reddick as Burns trots in to score, and the A's lead 2-0.
Yeah, you're right, Kai. He took the 2-0 curveball, a nice pitch, came back with another fastball. Watch him pull his hands in. Right there. It's a similar pitch that he hit for a home run on Monday night with the 2-run home run. But the catcher, Hundley, wanted the pitch outside. He left it inside, and Reddick so quick on the inner part of the plate. And it's almost like he looks forward to those 2 outs situations, and that's what you do. This is a game of teammates and being picked up. Stephen Vogt catching Jesse Hahn. Wants as much run support as possible, and he gets it from Reddick.
So Reddick has 49 RBIs now. So Butler tripled and scored in the second. Hit a deep drive to left field. Rafael Noah crashed into the wall after not being able to catch it. And he stayed down, and that allowed Butler to go all the way around to third. Butler looks like his swings are much better the last week or so.
Well, as we talked about, you sign a 3-year guaranteed contract, you're going to get your chances. If you're struggling, you might sit, but you have a contract, and that's a blessing for a hitter who's been around as long as Billy Butler has, to sign a 3-year contract and get the opportunities. He works and takes a lot of pride in it. Now with 49 runs batted in.
To the count. Butler in this series, he's now 5 for 8 with 4 runs scored. He's got a double, a triple, and a home run. Inside again to even the count. Again inside, so it's 3-2. This has not struck anybody out. He's walked 1. He's allowed 4 hits. 52 pitches total for Bettis. So Reddick runs. The 3-2 pitch is right there, strike 3 called. Billy Butler could not pull the trigger, but another run for the A's. Reddick brings home Burns, who had tripled. So 4th inning coming up. It's the A's 2 and the Rockies nothing. These pitchers to call a game for.
Oh, that number 27 is not bad, Catfish Hunter, because he never shook off anybody. Catfish was the first pitcher I ever caught as a member of the Athletics in spring training. And then, of course, catching Gaylord Perry in Cleveland, which was outstanding. Nothing against Vida Blue, Kenny Holtzman, Raleigh. A lot of great pitchers fortunate to be able to catch, but those two stand out. Both Cy Young Award winners. Catfish and Gaylord just a little bit different style of pitchers, but very good. And both winners.
Gonzalez rolls one to Sogard. So on a 2-0 pitch, Carlos Gonzalez gets jammed a little bit, and he's retired. Dustin Reinhardt has a question for us.
Now batting, number 20.
What is your favorite part of your job?
Talking baseball.
Well, that's
watching baseball.
It's really
have the best seat in the house. There's our seat right there. That's the seat. I mean, that's the seat. I mean, how could you go wrong with that seat to watch? And I mean, it is a great seat. We don't get all the food those people behind home plate are getting.
Laurie grabs it. That ball hit right off the plate. So 2 outs. Next question is from Rocco. Ray, how do you keep your hair looking so awesome?
Come on.
And you know, really, that's a question I've had for 12 years now.
Oh my gosh.
And yeah, you know, and I think Rocco deserves an answer.
All I can say is I was blessed.
I mean,
I was just blessed to be able to
Silver Fox. That's what we're going to do. The Silver Fox.
Just happy to have it. I don't care what color it is. Just happy to have it. Go into Rod Barber and Rod, just sit down. Don't have to say anything.
Keep it simple.
Just keep it simple, and that's it. Well, if that's the kind of question we're getting, let's talk baseball. You know, because we have the greatest seat in the house. We get to talk baseball, and tell you what, you can't go wrong with watching a bunch of talented players. And there's your
that's our guy.
Foul ball alley,
and that's the king of the foul ball alley right there.
Who's he going to give it to? He knows. Just who is he going to give the baseball to? Just find a fan?
He's going to go on that one too, and that one missed him by about a half a section.
And he was so cool. He was sitting there just taking all the accolades, and all of a sudden another one came his way. I mean, he knew that we were talking about him, that he gave us a thumbs up. How about that?
He did. He knows it now. This one's hit in the air, left center, and it's going to get down. It's going to go to the wall. So Ben Paulson's going to have a double. So hit number 2 for the Rockies. Both doubles. Gonzalez had a double in the second. Paulson here in the 4th. So Nick Hundley will have a chance to knock in a run. You know, I think that question though about favorite part of your job, and the simple answer is you're right. Just, I mean, you're watching a baseball game every day,
yeah.
and you hope that you do a good job passing it on to our viewers.
I'll trade you a baseball for lemonade. That young man who caught the baseball found the recipient.
Hundley swings and misses.
Cap, you know the one thing that I think we get to look at in addition to this, where young man caught the baseball, the foul ball, and he does not keep them. And that's a credit to him, that he makes the great plays and is always looking for somebody to give a souvenir. And a person can go home and say, man, you should have seen the catch I made to get this foul ball.
That's right. As long as they're happy.
But the one thing, Cap, I think we both agree that when we look down on the field, these guys are talented. When you think about how talented the players are to be able to put on the uniform and play this game, which is very hard, and move around, and you know, as a player many years ago, sometimes I can't believe I played the game. You know, just because these guys are so talented, and it has changed over the years. But give them a lot of credit. They could spend a lot of time working on their craft, and they do it. It's a year-round job, basically, to get ready to play the game. 162 games, spring training, hopefully postseason in October. But they work hard to get there. But they are talented. There's only 750 to start every season with a major league team. 750. And they have to work at it to keep it because there's so many trying to take their jobs.
1-2 pitch is Luke foul. And I think you feel the same way I do about this, Ray. That there's something very cool and very special about announcing for a team.
Exactly.
Where you're there every day.
Yeah.
And you know exactly what's going on with that team. You feel part of the team. You feel part of the fan base.
Right.
And you also feel a large sense of responsibility to that fan base because you are bringing them the game every day.
And that's a great point, because I always think of the great Bob Uecker, who we see in Milwaukee in spring training. He worked for the network, but he always said, I want to work for the Brewers, and I always will, no matter what I do network-wise.
And that is fair.
Wow.
Broken bat down the right field line. That's going to get a run home. Hundley's going to try for 2, and he's going to make it. So Paulson comes in to score. So back-to-back 2-out doubles. And now it's 2-1.
Got him 0-2, and then broke his bat, did Hundley, but found the area just inside the line. The pitch was up and left just with a handle in his hand. But Hundley was 6 home runs on the season. Of course, saw him in Baltimore last year.
Now batting, number 3.
Jesse Hahn. 2 strike to Paulson with a double to left center, and now 2 strikes to Hundley, and he gets the double.
And I'm afraid that a bat has hit a fan again, and that's unfortunate. Descalso, who takes a big curve first strike. Outside to Descalso. So 1-1 the count. Descalso struck out in the second inning. Swing and a miss. Hahn gets ahead 1-2.
Let's go.
Trying to get out of it. A run in for the Rockies. And did he go around? Yes, he did. Hahn gets the strikeout. Rockies get a run. Bottom of the 4th coming up. It's the A's 2 and the Rockies 1.
Voting is exclusively online and available on your computer, tablet, and smartphone. Vote up to 35 times at athletics.com. Tomorrow the day? Okay, you said Thursday?
Yeah, Thursday's the final day to vote. Sunday the starters are announced. Monday the reserves are announced for this year's All-Star game.
And we have talked about Stephen Vogt and Josh Reddick and Sonny Gray. I mean, you have an opportunity as an A's fan to vote for anybody you want to, and you watch your A's play every day. If there's somebody special that you want to vote for, and close to 500 million, if not more than 500 million people have voted online for this year's All-Star game. We hope Stephen Vogt is there. What a story that would be for the man who almost left the game twice. Thanks to his wife Alyssa, said, "No, you're sticking here. I don't want to have you home," and without giving a chance. I mean, really, you've got to give yourself a chance. And Stephen Vogt felt that was not going to happen. His wife said, "Yes. Make sure you give it all you have, and if you finally say it's over, it's over. But you never leave too soon." We saw Troy Hawkins last night at 42. Sure. You think he's not saying somebody's got to tear off my uniform before I decide to hang them up? But it's a great game, as we've talked about, and if you have the ability to play at this level, stay here as long as you can.
Like Davis is retired. Davis not necessarily in agreement with Alfonso Marquez. So one out here in the bottom of the fourth inning.
Now batting third baseman, number 15.
The Mariners and the Padres are
Lori.
playing as we speak. In fact, they got a pitcher's duel going down in San Diego. No score in the sixth inning. That's Walker and Shields, so that is a good pitching matchup. Juan Walker, the young right-hander, has really turned his season around for Seattle, and James Shields is 7-2, so we'll keep a close eye on that one. No score, sixth inning. The Mariners will get on the plane, fly up the coast to get ready for the four-game series against the A's starting tomorrow. So they should get in here at a very nice time.
The series finale in San Diego for the A's was all the way down to the wire. A's winning in the ninth inning.
That's right. That was quite a game, that day game in San Diego. Rangers and the Orioles will play tonight. Rangers have won the first two games of that four-game series. 3-1 fastball. Lori swings and misses. It'll be Martinez for Texas, Chu for the Orioles. So they will play again tomorrow, those two teams. Lori shoots one foul right side. Yankees will be in Anaheim. Angels going for the three-game sweep. That game will start at 4:05. Angels have won 4 in a row. Evaldi and Shoemaker, the matchup there. Three-two pitch, curve, and a good one, and Lori strikes out. Maybe the best pitch Bettis has thrown all day. Good curve, and it was right on the outside corner.
It's amazing. He's had really better control with his off-speed pitches, the curve and the slider, and coming to catch it, not opposed to calling it, maybe realizing that curveball or the slider, they struck out Billy Butler, called strike 3, and he's thrown it 3-2, and give him a lot of credit. He's getting strikeouts and counts where hitters are looking fastballs, but he's thrown some great off-speed pitches.
Sogard, a sacrifice fly in the second inning. Breakdown for Bettis for the season, so he liked that curveball. Descalso right there, flips it across side, retired. Very good inning for Chad Bettis, and we're through 4 at the Coliseum. A's 2, Rockies 1. Log on to csncalifornia.com as our A's insider Joe Stiglitz provides wire-to-wire reporting of this 2015 season. He's got breaking news, video, special features, and more. It's only on csncalifornia.com. It's a 2-1 lead for the A's, top of the fifth. Rafael Noah leads things off, and he takes a strike from high. Noah reached on an error in the third inning, but did not score. He was at second with nobody out after the error. The Rockies could do nothing with it. Noah with a big swing fouls it back. He's a switch hitter. Rockies will head to Arizona after the game. They'll get back within their division and play a 4-game set against the Diamondbacks. It's part of a 10-game trip for Colorado, so they're away from the Mile High City for a while. 2-2 pitch is slapped toward left field. Long run for Zobrist. He is going to get there. He reaches up, makes the catch at the warning track.
See Stephen Vogt give the target the sign of a fastball inside, and Jesse Hahn let it leak out a little bit. Rosario, or Noah, that is, a good job of going to the opposite field. The location's always a key. That's a two-seam grip that he's trying to start inside. Great shot, Tommy. That you start inside and then bring it back over the plate, but ended up leaving it outside. What a great job by Ben Zobrist to get to the ball. As he approached the warning track, he anticipated maybe with the location of the fastball that Noah was going to go that direction and made a nice play out of it.
Top of the order in Blackman. Blackman a walk and a strikeout so far. 2 for 11 in the series, so keeping this guy off the bases is always important when you're playing the Rockies. Just a touch outside. One other game in the AL West to watch tonight. The Royals at the Astros, and the Astros are going for the 3-game sweep. The Astros will be off tomorrow, and then they will head out on a road trip. They will spend the weekend in Boston. Pitch is hit high in the air toward Burns, who goes back. Now he's got to come in, and he makes the catch. So Blackman is retired. We'll see today, Ray, where Jerry Dipoto, the general manager for the Angels, resigned. He had a contract through next year. Seems like the last couple years, read about it numerous times. He and Mike Scioscia, the manager, not seeing eye to eye. At some point, it's not going to work. And so today, Dipoto resigned. Which, I mean, you don't see a general manager resign very often. You see him get fired. Sounds like a little bit of a power struggle there between the GM and the manager.
Photo, a former player, one of 4 former major league players, the general managers, now down to 3. Dave Stewart, Billy Beane, the A's, and Philadelphia. But yeah, it's, you know, the game has changed, and a lot of those changes really affect manager and general manager.
So LeMahieu strikes out. Good inning for Jesse Hahn. 3 up, 3 down. 2-1. A's lead as we go to the bottom of the 5th. it'll be Simeon, Burns, and Vogt against Chad Bettis. He's got a single run in the second, single run in the third. First pitch to Simeon is inside. Simeon hit a hard ground ball to Arenado in the second inning. Arenado made a nice play to his left.
I think we have to give Marcus Simeon a lot of credit, playing a position that he'd really never played exclusively throughout his young career. And how he's been able to separate the two. And he struggled defensively, but he's learning at this level how difficult it is to hit, and he has made some adjustments working Darren Bush. Of course, infield play is ongoing, working on that. But at times, whether you're playing well on one side of the ball and not the other, it affects you. And Marcus Simeon has not let it bother him this year, which is good. He's just going to get better and better, swinging the bat and playing defense.
Breaking ball stays inside, so a full count.
Now to your point, right back to the curveball again. See if he throws another curveball or slider. Bettis. Fastball has been a struggle for him.
Popped up foul. We also had a fun time answering your questions today. If you have any questions for Ray and or myself, go to our Facebook page at CSN Bay Area. We have a question about today's game. This one in the air to right center. Carlos Gonzalez is under it. He's got it.
Well, time now for the Ford right choice. How about the Billy's triples? You pick the guy that you think is running the fastest. Burns approaching second. Billy Butler near second. Burns, well, I think it says it all right there. Nice job, guys. The split screen, the two Billies. One who dreams of having the speed, the other has it. Yep. And this is the one that has it, Billy Burns. I think what slowed Billy Butler down, he was looking, he was watching the ball, see what Noah was going to do, and Billy Burns had the ball hit down the right field corner. He knew it was going to be extra bases, but a little slack to Billy Butler, just watching the ball, see how far he's going to be able to go.
1-1 the count to Burns. Bunt attempt, he missed it, dropped the bat. 1-2. That game down in San Diego, Robinson Cano has hit a home run off James Shields. So the Mariners now leading 1-0 in the bottom of the 6th inning. Robinson Cano has not put it all together yet this year. Another reason why the Mariners are really struggling to score runs. Burns slaps it into left field, a base hit. He's going to round the bag at first, and Noah kicks it around and rolls under the feet of the A's relievers in the bullpen. And Burns has a double.
And what did we say about speed, Kyle? What happens when you have the speed? Watching Noah in the outfield, he knew it was a double. He had to be concerned about a triple and going in the slide, but just a slapping Billy Burns and Noah going into the slide, lucky to get a glove on it, and then trying to grab it with the glove and kick it down underneath the A's bullpen. But Billy Burns can fly. Saw it was fair. Nice turn around first base and coast into second, thinking three. Let the ball in front of him, able to shut it down, but he's in scoring position again. Another multi-hit game.
So up steps Vogt. You're almost better off just to field it and throw it back in and not try to rush it, because you're not going to throw Billy Burns out at second base.
No chance at second. You're right.
But if that thing rolls around a little bit too far, Burns will be at third. Outside corner, a strike to Vogt. Vogt is grounded to short and grounded to second, so he's 0 for 2 today and 2 for 9 in the series.
And also, since there's one out and not Nobody out. Burns may think about trying to steal if he gets a good enough jump, a read off of this right-hander. And I really don't think, and when you think about a left-handed hitter, an easier shot for a catcher to throw to the third baseman, I don't know that Billy Burns really considers that, which is a good idea. Arenado off the bag quite a distance at third base, so Hundley would have to throw perhaps to a moving target.
Pickoff, and Burns gets back. Sneaking in from behind was Descalso.
Changes the game. A lot of interest paid to Billy Burns because of the speed, and able to get back. Kind of a daylight play for pitcher shortstop.
Vogt loops it into left field. Manoah coming in. He's going to get there. And that's the second out here in the bottom of the fifth. And it'll be up to Zobrist to get that run home.
Now batting,
The Blue Jays beat the Red Sox today 11-2 in Toronto. The Blue Jays pounding the baseball. They hit 4 home runs. Donaldson hit his 19th. And Ray, the losing pitcher was Rick Porcello. He gave up 7 earned runs in 2 innings. Rick Porcello is 4-9 with a 6.08 ERA. He's better than that.
$85 million. Signed him to a 4-year deal when he got traded to Boston. Well, they have had their struggles this year, the Red Sox, and between the new players they signed as free agents in the offseason, trades they made, Porcello one of them.
And still with that bunched up AL East coming into today, the Red Sox were only 6 games back. Now, of course, there's 4 teams in front of them. And the pitching has really struggled for Boston.
Well, the numbers Reddick has had as a big hit today with 2 outs. You'd have to think that Bettis and Hundley are thinking about Ben Zobrist as Reddick is in the on-deck circle. And there are 2 outs. Billy Burns at second with a 1-out double.
And now 3-0. Outside, and it's a 4-pitch walk. Second walk for Bettis. He's got 2 walks, 2 strikeouts.
No, I may be mistaken. Maybe they don't think about the numbers Reddick has put up. You know, with all the numbers available, they have to think when they have their meeting going over hitters, saying that Josh Reddick is a very good 2-out RBI hitter. He came up with 1, has a chance to do it again. So a 2-0 curveball that Zobrist took like he knew it was coming, which he probably did, and a fastball off the plate again. Let's see if Reddick, who took a 2-0 curveball for a strike before hitting the fastball, but once again Bettis pitching in the 5th inning. His 85th pitch coming up. Fastball has not been a control pitch for him today.
Outside to Reddick. Reddick with that 2-out RBI hit in the 3rd. Knocked home Burns. Trying to do the same thing here in the 5th. Missed again. We're starting to move around a little bit out in that bullpen. Betancourt doing the Ray Fosse exercise out there with the shoulder.
Can I borrow one of those bungee cords?
One of those ligaments. So I don't think 7 straight out of the strike zone was what Bettis was planning on doing.
Well, it's base open, maybe he's pitching around everybody.
That only lasts for a certain amount of time. Missed again.
So his fastballs aren't even close.
Well, he got to a right-handed hitter, but he had to walk 2 guys to get there. For Butler today, a triple. Monday, he homered.
David Hale with a fastball down the middle, and Billy Butler right back up the middle over the fence in center field. And Butler with his 6th home run. He's driven in 35. Trying to get even more in the RBI department.
Johan Flande, a left-hander, was called up a couple days ago. Starts to throw.
We hope Tom Hallion is doing okay. He had to be removed from the game, home plate umpire. And you see the umpire alignment, and now with the bases loaded, nobody's at first base. Alfonso Marquez moved to behind the plate, but they're set up now with the 1 umpire at second and 1 at third. Earlier, when it was first and second, the third base umpire went where the second base umpire is now. So in between innings, they've been talking a lot, the 3 umpires, and just maybe going over the position.
Butler, base hit right field. 1 run scores, they'll stop Zobrist. So Butler stays hot. He's got an RBI single, and it's 3-1.
The old opposite field hit once again by Billy Butler, just like Billy Burns hit the double down the left field line. Billy Butler goes right field, and maybe because the 3-2 slider struck out on his previous at bat, stayed back a little bit longer, saw the ball a little bit longer, and Mike Gallego understands, realizes a strong arm of Carlos Gonzalez, but Billy Butler taking the outside fastball, his trademark hit opposite field, and it comes through again with 2 outs.
So Ike Davis trying to add on. Checks his swing. No appeal, 1-0. '36th RBI of the year for Butler.
Triple and double, 2 runs scored for Billy Burns of the 3 the A's have scored.
There's that curve that drops in there first strike. Davis a couple of ground outs today. And Bettis all of a sudden is a little bit all over the place. Davis bounces one over the middle, taken by Descalso, the shortstop. And Davis is retired, but a run on a couple of hits and a couple of walks for the A's. So 6th inning coming up. A's 3, Rockies 1. CSN Bay Area. It's from Ian Hoffman, and it's a good question. What would happen if another umpire got hurt? Well, right now there are 3 umpires, and the rule book says it can go all the way down to 1 umpire. See, you can become ill or injured. Those are the 2 reasons where an umpire can be replaced in a game. If there's only 1 umpire, he shall have complete jurisdiction in administering the rules. He can take any position on the field. So, again, you could have 3 umpires leave, and the game would still go on with just 1 umpire.
And that 1 umpire, any position, that means he could stand behind the pitcher and call balls and strikes from there. That way he can handle all the bases also.
So he is really in charge if it got to that. And that one is belted down the left field line toward the foul pole. Foul. Well, Arenado put a charge into it, just foul.
Hanging curveball, and it had hit me all over to Arenado, that great swing on a hanger. And fortunately, there was an umpire down the third base line, because according to the umpire, it cut in front of the foul pole, indicating that it was foul.
And it's quickly 0-2 to Arenado.
You see where the ball lands, and definitely right there in front of the foul pole. So a very well hit ball, but from the A standpoint, fortunately, foul.
Two pitches, a fastball well outside. 84 pitches for Jesse Hahn. Fisted foul. Arenado, Gonzalez, Rosario here in the top of the 6th inning.
I think Troy Tulowitzki said, who is not playing today, but he said it'd been nice to be the same age as Arenado. Whereas he is turning 31, so he's real old, Tulowitzki. But Arenado younger, and left side of the infield when those two are playing, not much gets through. And I can imagine the career Arenado's going to have, and the one Tulowitzki's already had and continues. But they will be side by side for a while anyway.
Outside, 3-2. Well, Arenado, just 24 years old. I mean, listen, he's an MVP candidate.
He is.
But his team's probably not going to make the postseason.
Just have to think about Ernie Banks, who won it when the Cubs didn't win. Of course, they haven't won since 1908.
That one foul. But that could come into play when, if the Rockies continue to struggle as they have been. They're 9 games under the 500 mark and in last place. But he's had a huge first half, 68 RBIs in 78 games. And he skies this one. It'll be playable for Laurie in foul territory, now drifting into fair territory, and he makes the catch. So Hahn wins the battle with Arenado, who's 0 for 3. So with 1 out, it gets us to our next question. How do you balance being a fan and a broadcaster? I've been asked that before.
You know what you said, the best answer before another question is about working for a team. I mean, you want to support the team. I mean, that's the whole idea. And I mean, you got to be fair and honest and credible, you know, with the calls. I mean, a guy makes a bad play and overthrows a cutoff man. You don't try to say, well, he had a bad arm. I mean, you know,
sure,
just tell it like it is.
But there is a fine line that I think you and I have to. I don't think any broadcaster for a team has to be careful for it, because I had advice from another broadcaster. You have to be honest, but you have to remember that you will be boarding a plane with these 25 players every road trip you take, and you don't want them looking at you going, So you do have to be careful. But I think we're all fans, maybe even times when we would like to cheer more, but that's kind of not the way we operate up here.
Well, and a lot of that too is the location. Kurt Young's going to visit with Jesse Hahn, maybe to give Drew Pomerantz a chance to loosen up quickly. But you go east of the Mississippi, and that's kind of the line, because prior to 1958, there were no teams out here. Everything from the Midwest, Mississippi, east. So while our good friend Hawk Harrelson can say, come on, big guy, get a hit, it's just not something you can do out here. And, you know, not that you ever do it anyway, but you can hear kind of the cheering a little bit more from that part of the country and east. But, you know, you work for a team. You're broadcasting for a team.
So, yes, we are fans in our heart, but also, you know, there's 162 games on a baseball schedule. You cannot take every game like it's the 7th game of the World Series.
Exactly.
Quick throw, and Gonzalez dives back. But I also think that a lot of our conversations when the game is not going on, it's about the A's, and it's about baseball. It's about other teams. What's going on? And I love opening the newspaper in the morning and reading the box scores of all the other games. Who did what? Who's playing well? No other sport has the everyday full page box scores because there's just not as many games played in other sports. Gonzalez back again.
And I think the question about fans, now while we look down and we see a lot of people who buy season tickets and buy tickets to come out and watch, they're real fans, and you can hear some of the disappointments when a guy makes an out and the bases loaded and doesn't drive in a big run in the bottom of the 9th inning. That's where you have to separate, because realizing that the game is difficult and there are a lot of outs. It's really a game of failure that players, while some are great, like Arenado. I mean, look at this series. He came out 24 and 68. He's not hit a home run, fortunately, from the A standpoint, but a great player. But he's going to make a lot of outs. And he's hitting close to 300. That means he makes 7 out of 10 outs. And that's hitting 300. And you're a superstar if you do that. But how do you handle the 7 outs when you make them? Fans don't want to see the 7 outs. They want to see 10 hits and 10 at-bats. And it's a very difficult game. That is probably the biggest part about the game of baseball.
Close pitch on 0-2. Hahn thought maybe Alfonso Marquez would raise the right arm. 1-2.
There's a target inside, pitch outside, in the strike zone perhaps, but I don't know that anybody, that's a strike. That's a quarter of the outside part of the plate. But because Vogt's set up inside, we'll see some umpires who will call it. And sure, the Rockies dugout might be screaming and yelling, but the pitch is going to be over the plate and should be called a strike.
Yeah, I mean, I know it is a little bit of a tougher call for an umpire when the target is missed, but I just don't think that should matter. If it's across the plate.
That's right. That's the key. If he's watching the ball cross the plate, the height, the width, no matter where the catcher's set up and where it should be called a strike if it's crossing the plate.
Rosario reaches for that one, rolls it foul behind home plate toward the on-deck circle. So now 95 pitches for Hahn. Hahn trying to even up his record. He's 5-6. Very good ERA. 3.47 and coming down.
Well, a double play in the first inning. Would love to get that, as it might be close to him exiting the game.
So the count 1-2. very close eye on Carlos Gonzalez. Gonzalez has good speed, but only a couple of steals this year. One-two pitch, swing and a miss. He struck him out with a fastball.
Jesse Hahn going right after him, and upstairs with the fastball. We've seen him elevate. We've seen him go outside with a fastball, but it's the key is the velocity, and the hitter not able to catch up to a good fastball from Jesse Hahn.
So now with 2 outs, Ben Paulson will hit. Paulson has reached on a fielder's choice, and he has doubled and scored. Fastball a bit high. Mariners have added another run. They lead the Padres 2-0 in the bottom of the 7th inning down in San Diego. Again, missed with the fastball. 2-0. Pomeranz is ready to go out in the bullpen, the left-hander. And today, at least, Troy Tulowitzki is going to be lurking in the dugout. Not a bad right-handed bat.
Well, Ike Davis was lurking in the A's dugout last night. A number of lefties on the bench, and I asked him after the game about when were you going to hit. He said, well, remember you had the lefty in the bullpen, and we talked about it was not your conventional closer, Axford, on the bereavement list. So it was Troy Hawkins trying to close it out, which he did. But if the A's had put up another lefty, Boone Logan was ready to come in, and maybe Walt Weiss would have asked him. So that's kind of the cat and mouse game between the managers. If there's John Axford out there, he's going to stay regardless.
Two and one. Quick throw to first. So 6 strikeouts today for Hahn. He has walked 2 and he's allowed 4 hits. Nick Hundley, a right-handed hitter, would be next. Half swing toward Laurie. Throw to first. What a play by Brett Laurie. Terrific play. And that's how the top of the 6th ends. A little defense by the A's. Bottom of the 6th coming up. The 2-1 A's lead.
Butler with a rare triple, first since 2012. Manoah banged off the wall. The ball came back towards the infield. He would score, and also Billy Burns a triple down the right field line. A little bit more conventional for him with his speed. Josh Reddick brought him home with 2 outs with a fastball inside, pulled it in right field. The only run for the Rockies has come on this 2-out hit by Hundley. That was back-to-back doubles, but the A's and Billy Butler came right back with the bases loaded and 2 outs again. Scoring a run. So 3 of the 4 runs in the contest all coming with 2 outs. Fortunately from the A's standpoint, and Jesse Hahn, he has 3 of them. Find out what's possible with AT&T. Call 1-800-PICK-ATT. Mobilizing your world.
Just 1 run allowed in 6 innings for Jesse Hahn.
I'll tell you what, it was the final out of the inning, but Jesse Hahn had to be very appreciative of the play made by that man who just singled. And that is
reached for it.
Brett Lawrie. What a play he made to end the inning, because Jesse Hahn was not going to get to it. And a lot of times when a third baseman makes the barehanded grab, he loses his balance and falls face forward. But Brett Lawrie did not.
Now batting second base.
So we got a new question for you. And Ray, you know what? I'm going to let you handle this. In a 7-game series, who wins between the A's World Series teams of the 70s or the 1989 team? It's one of those good Oakland A's questions that, well, you could discuss for hours.
You know what, I would think it could go down to a 7th game. And depending on the All-Star game, who had the home field advantage might determine.
I think the A's are going to have home field.
Yeah. But, you know, the one thing I was fortunate to play on the 2, but to also MC the championship. Unfortunately, because of the earthquake, it was kind of a subdued championship in '89. But there were a lot of comparisons to the A's in '89, the A's of the 70s, as far as the power. Both clubs had the power, the great pitching, starting and relieving. One of the biggest differences was in '89, Eckersley pretty much a 1-inning closer, whereas Raleigh could close in 3 innings. But a lot of similarities, and to be honest, I don't know that you could definitively say one team would win over the other, because they were equally matched. Different eras. '89 more of a free agent year. I mean, as far as free agent possibilities, but in the early '70s, those were all mostly draft choices by Charlie Finley, coming up through Kansas City and then Oakland. But it would be easy to say the teams of the 70s, but I watched the '89 team. They were pretty good. So I don't know. I really don't. 3 in a row in the 70s. Only 2 teams have ever won 3 consecutive. That would be the Yankees and the A's. '89, the last one for the Athletics.
Close pitch, 1-2 the count. I would think that the '89 team, just from a roster standpoint, has to be one of the best lineups.
Absolutely.
Just, I mean, maybe ever. I mean, if you just go, here's the starting lineup, and you just look at it and compare it to other championship teams, it'd be tough to find a tougher lineup.
And Blue Moon, if you're listening, I know you're going to be thinking that the championship A's of the 70s could overtake them, but the A's had North and Campy leading off, and of course all the great guys in the middle with Vandal, Tennis, Rudy. Darren Johnson came in as a DH one year. I mean, just a great assortment in the 70s, but in the '89 series, there was some excellent players.
So Sogard gets caught looking. 1 away here in the bottom of the 6th inning.
Now batting shortstop, number 10, Marcus Semien.
And that'll bring up Marcus Semien. I wonder too, Ray, if in the, I guess you want to say, court of public opinion, maybe not in the Bay Area, but maybe outside the Bay Area, the '89 team, they won one, but maybe it hurts them that they lost a couple. You guys won, played in 3, you won 3.
But had an owner that nobody likes.
It doesn't take anything away from '89's team, but
you're right.
It was so good, but I think in people's minds, they should have won another one. Not always fair, but
yeah. But you know, the Haas family owning the A's during that period of time, and while they did get 1 world championship, and The unfortunate thing in '89 is a 5-game series. In the 88 was a 5-game series, 89 a 4-game sweep, and 94 game sweep by the Reds. So really, in 3 World Series, I only played 13 games.
That's true. Yeah.
You know, if you really think about it. But Tony Russo was a great manager, had a great staff. Rene Lachemann, who was with the Rockies, on that staff. Dave Duncan is a great pitching coach. And I don't think you can take away from, again, in the 70s, that was before free agency. So really, players didn't move before '76. In '89, there were a lot of transplants, guys that come from other organizations.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. As Laurie takes off, throw to second base is late. So good base running by Laurie to get himself into scoring position. Coming blocked it, scrambled after it, but Laurie took off immediately.
Well, a sidearm throw, it did not get a lot on it, and that's the secondary lead by Brett Laurie, big lead. And once he saw the ball in the dirt, aggressively getting into scoring position, and a couple of opportunities to bring him in. As a catcher, you block a ball, you have to assume the runner's going to advance, and looked like Hundley hesitated just momentarily, not thinking Laurie was going to go because he did such a good job of blocking the ball.
So 1-2 the count to Simeon. But I was saying about the 3 World Series where none of them went deep, and in '89 it was really just complete domination in a 4-game sweep. Of course, the earthquake was involved.
I decided to bring that up because Troy Tulowitzki was a member of the 2007 Rockies as a rookie. And he was talking about the time that they had off between, I mean, they swept everybody. Down the stretch, they were beating everybody, and just like the Royals did last year. But he said they had 9 days off between the League Championship Series and the World Series. He said you can imagine as a rookie on a team going to the World Series. And he said we had guys talking, he said we're playing inter-squad games. And Latch told him, because Latch was a member of Tony's in '89. He said, you see, the A's went to Arizona. He said, yeah, Tony wanted to get them out of the Bay Area and go to Arizona and have inter-squad games there. So it's got it going back to spring training. And great that the Haas family said, Tony, do whatever you want to do.
Sure.
And ended up winning.
So Simeon strikes out. So back-to-back strikeouts for Bettis. Next questions from Chris Perry. What is the farthest home run you've seen in an A's player hit here at the Coliseum?
Is that from Chris Bassett? Oh, Perry. Oh. The farthest here, huh? Saw Sal Fasano hit the sweets in center field.
He's not the name that you would think would be first, but I remember that.
And also, Yoenis Cespedes in his first year, 2012. Crushed the ball. You know, my family had a suite for opening night here. It's actually the opening night #2 because he started in Tokyo. But it hit right up in here, and that was Cespedes. And then the next night went to right center. Crushed the ball.
He's need a hit from Burns, who's 2 for 3, double, triple, 2 runs scored. He's doing his thing again.
Working radio, Cap, I mentioned to Vince Cotroneo. Said about Reggie hitting the ice plant. He goes, what? What was the ice plant? Well, that was before the refrigerator in Mount Davis was built. I mean, you could see the Oakland Hills. You could see kind of the mezzanine. Reggie would crush balls up there. Nobody ever hit him. You'd never see it now because of Mount Davis, but it was a great sight that you could look out into that view all across center field from right to left. That U quarter in left field, U quarter in right field, but straightaway center. It was beautiful to look out in the Oakland Hills.
Burns with the walk. So walk number 4 for Bettis. And at 111 pitches, I think it's decision time for Walt Weiss. Well, he's going to go to the bullpen.
It has to remember we're not in the National League with a double switch, so he can just go straight to his bullpen.
So when it's time for a change, think Speedy Oil Change and Tune-Up, your oil change, tune-up, and smog experts.
full-line automaker with the longest-lasting vehicles in America, Toyota. Let's go places. And by Xfinity, home of the most live sports.
So Chad Bettis goes 5 2/3. He leaves trailing 3-1. 7 hits, 3 runs, all earned with a couple of runners on that are his responsibility. So Christian Friedrich comes in. Saw him earlier in this series in game 1. He's got a job to do. It's to get Stephen Vogt. Vogt trying to give the A's another run. Lowry the runner at second. Burns at first. The A's have had plenty of base runners today. They've only been retired in order one time. That was the 4th inning. Stephen Vogt not in agreement on the first pitch strike call. He's grounded out twice and hit a fly ball to left field. And Vogt, shallow left. And Noah coming in. He's got it side retired. So a couple of runners stranded for the A's, and we're on to the 7th inning from the Coliseum. A's 3, Rockies 1. Rockies lost the game 3-2. His only career home run. Drew Pomeranz.
So we know who the A's can use as pinch hitter if necessary.
Pretty good swing.
Right now he's going to come in and try to help the A's win the series finale. And of course, coming from the Rockies, as Pomeranz did, said any for bases, I know all the guys. And of course, just recently with the club, you could see Tulowitzki in that photograph or that shot of Pomeranz hitting the home run. So he's facing a lot of former teammates and trying to get some big outs. And I don't know if they saw him in the starting rotation, they'd see that he's in the stretch all the time. Tulowitzki, the day off
for now.
Yeah.
So here's Hundley, who swings and misses at the first pitch. Hundley is walked and doubled in a run. He hits that one just foul down the third baseline. So Pomeranz taking over for Jesse Hahn, who leaves with a 3-1 lead. Two pitches, that curveball in the dirt. Descalso to follow, and then Anoa. Descalso, a left-handed hitter. Anoa, a switch hitter. And that is what is in line for Pomeranz here in the 7th.
Fastball up and in, trying to get him to finish with the fastball.
And he did. Fastball away and only missed it. 7 strikeouts for A's pitchers so far today.
At least with Stephen Vogt setting up inside with Pomeranz, the lefty, at least gave him the idea that's where he wanted to throw, and did not throw it inside, but got the chance to finish it instead of trying to guide it to the outside part of the plate. And that's a great job of throwing a good fastball after missing with a curveball, and the hitter pretty much knowing he's probably going to get a fastball and could not catch up to it.
So here's Descalso. And the first pitch to him is a strike. Descalso has struck out twice. Bay Area kid, grew up in Mountain View, went to St. Francis High School. Eric Burns went to St. Francis. Terrific two-sport athlete at St. Francis. Went to UC Davis in the offseason. Got a 2-year contract offer from the Rockies, and I think when you're a utility player, bench player, and somebody gives you a 2-year deal, you got to grab it. He's with the Cardinals for the last 4 years. Did a good job for St. Louis as an extra player.
And Descalso and Mike Aldrete, the A's bench coach, former Cardinals, different capacities, but have to be looking at the Cardinals team that's running away with everything in the Central of the National League. There's the A's bench coach. Happy to have Aldo back with the A's, and he's happy to be back close to home.
So now a full count.
I was thinking of Eric Burns, who was with the A's, did a great job. Just think if Burns and Laurie were on the same team.
Be a lot going on.
There would be so much energy.
And a walk. So good at bat by Descalso. Yeah, that's an interesting thought.
Especially Burns played left, Laurie at third. So just think of a ball in foul territory down out of the A's bullpen. They have 2 guys diving for the ball near the bullpen mound, colliding. I got it. You take it. Let's go. No, I tell you, if you come to the park on a day game after a night game, you see that man, you got some energy because he has loads of it. Good to see him staying healthy and making great plays.
Here's Anoa. And a strike. Blackman will be next, the left-handed hitter. Anoa has reached down an air and hit a fly ball to left field. His first 2 at-bats were batting left-handed. And he fouls that one, and it's 0-2. Crowd today 17,655. The sun has disappeared. Now a little bit overcast here at the Coliseum, but
feels good, doesn't it?
Cools things off. And that one right at the knee. Strike 3 called. Tough to argue with that one.
Well, the 2 righties, strikeouts. Hundley and now Anoa, the lefty. 6-pitch walk. This fastball right there. And Noah could not pull the trigger, but very good pitch thrown by through Pomeranz. and now another lefty coming up, and you say, well, why don't they pinch hit? Blackman's going to face everybody, and of course he only got a pinch hit. It would be Tulowitzki, and really not a situation you want to bring him in. But Wisconsin will walk, and that's the lefty on lefty. And from Drew Pomeran's standpoint, he's facing another lefty. See what he learned from the first lefty. There's so much platooning in baseball today in a lot of cases. I strongly believe that you put a lot of righties in against the lefties, he's going to have better success because it's going to allow him to finish pitches as Pomeranz has done. And put lefties in against lefties, I don't know that lefties are accustomed to seeing as many when they're pitching against them.
Close pitch. Blackman gets the call. 2-0. They're going to the bottom of the 8th in San Diego. The Mariners added another run. It's now 3-0. Seattle. DJ LeMahieu, a right-handed hitter, is the on-deck hitter. Outside, 3-0 to Blackman. Blackman has walked, struck out, and hit a fly ball to center field. He's 2 for 11 in the series. And that one missed outside. So Pomeranz, as Ray said, walked the first left-handed hitter he faced, and now he walks Blackman.
I just think it changes everything lefty's trying to do against another lefty.
So Bob Melvin's going to come out. We're going to get more action out in the bullpen as Fegley, the catcher, trots down there. And Edward Mahika jumps up.
Jay LeMahieu.
Well, let's see if the trend continues, and that would be strikeout, walk, strikeout, walk, strikeout. A big hitter for Drew Pomeranz.
And LeMahieu bounces one. Sogard gives ground, flips to second, got it. So on one pitch, LeMahieu grounds out. He's 0 for 4, and Pomeranz gets out of the jam. That Bay Area. We'll have all the highlights and clubhouse reaction from the A's Rockies game. Warriors and Kings. They got any free agent news? And Harrison Barnes hanging out in the city. Event 3 to David Feldman will host. Well, speaking of Harrison Barnes hanging out in the city, he's going to throw the first pitch here tomorrow night. That's right. So we get a little Warrior Championship fever here. So that'll be fun. Harrison Barnes. Look forward to seeing him.
Looking forward to seeing their championship rings. It should be fun to see. Remember the guy named Jim Barnett that we used to see whenever baseball started? But
I don't know who you're talking about.
I don't either.
No.
It's unbelievable how
old friend.
He is just staying away. Maybe he's on a cruise or someplace vacationing since a long season.
I think he's big leaguing us because they won the championship.
Probably.
That's too bad. I remember the days when Jim would come up, tell us what a great job we're doing, and tell us how next year was going to be the year for the Warriors. And this year was the year for the Warriors.
You say it enough.
Miller.
You say it for 25 years,
right.
40 years.
So we kept believing him, and it finally happened, and he doesn't come around anymore. 2-1 to Zobrist. Zobrist with a base hit to left field. He'll make a big turn, and the ball gets past to Noah just enough to allow Zobrist to go to second. We'll see what the ruling is, and Noah just misplayed it. So the A's will have a runner at second and they'll be out. Next question for Ray and myself. What was the most memorable A's game that you've both broadcasted? I know what it is for me. And it was the Dallas Braden perfect game.
Yeah.
Now you've been around for
don't say it.
Postseason games and excitement, World Series, but for me,
yeah, there's nothing better than a perfect game.
That was very cool.
And the great thing about it, neither one of us knew it until the ninth inning. And look at the score sheet and say, wait a minute, nothing's happened here. Dallas Braden, Mother's Day, 2010, Cliff Pennington, and Gabe Kapp with a foul out. And Peggy Lindsay, the grandmother of Dallas Braden, on Mother's Day. Dallas had lost his mother, so Dallas Braden in our business now, but one we will never forget. Still miss Peggy Lindsay's eclairs, though. You know, some of the best.
So 0-2 the count. It's the only time I ever thanked a player. I said, Dallas, thank you.
Well, and to have a rookie shortstop and Cliff Pennington to make the play, and you know, a perfect game. I mean, it says a lot about that one thing. Perfect. That means nothing happens. Out of the windup the whole time. And that is a perfect play by Josh Reddick as he gets Zobrist over to third base. So while he gave himself up, it will be at least at this point at 1 for 3 days with a RBI single with a walk. But that, some say, should equal a sacrifice, although you're trying to drive the runner in. But you don't get as many high fives on a normal out as you do when you hit the ball to the right side and put the runner at third, infield coming in, and he's trying to add another run.
So the Rockies want that lefty on lefty matchup. And on top of that, Butler's swinging the bat pretty well.
Talking to Ken Korak, who was on the radio call, and Dallas Braden was pitching, and it was a 3-1 pitch. Braden thought it was 2-2. Gabe Kapler, and he did not realize it was 3-1 until he's walking off, and they replayed Ken Korak's play, and he said, "Korak's wrong. It wasn't 3-1. It's 2-2." But I tell you, Gabe Kapler could have taken the pitch, and it'd been a tough call for the umpire.
Yeah.
If it's that close in a perfect game, you
Your
walk.
attention, please, ladies and gentlemen, for the athletics.
Look at our guy in the foul ball alley. He's got the big A's flag waving in now after catching. So he knows when a right-handed hitter is up, he has no chance of catching a foul ball where he's located.
So Mark Canha is going to pinch hit for Ike Davis. That has been announced, and that brings Walt Weiss out of the dugout. There's our guy.
That's it. As a left-handed hitter, he's sitting down waiting for a foul ball. Right-hander, no chance for him to hit him over there.
So when it's time for a change, think Speedy Oil Change and Tune-Up, your oil change tune-up and smog experts.
After the A's versus the Mariners, 6:05 p.m. contest. Fans can watch the post-game fireworks show from the outfield rest, but you know, as always, on-field capacity is limited. Get your tickets today at athletics.com/fireworks. Can you burn a lean?
I'm done Bernie leaning, Ray.
Good. I think we all are. I always like to look at that video and see how many former A's players were part of it.
That was a while ago, wasn't it?
Jerry Clemens, Josh. Let's see. Josh Reddick was here. Sean Doolittle said he was here part of the time, so he was part of that Bernardine. But most of the cast of characters, there you go.
So here's Canha to face Justin Miller, the right-hander, recently called up. Friedrich goes 2/3 of an inning. First pitch to Canha is hit to shallow center. Gonzalez and Blackman come together, and it falls. The run will come in to score. They'll get Butler at second. And just some hesitation between Blackman and Gonzalez. And that's a crucial mistake, because if either of them catch it, I think they got a chance at home plate with Zobrist, because they were in shallow right center.
Yeah, Blackman might have been deferring maybe to Carlos Gonzalez because he has a very strong arm. Carlos peeled off. Blackman at least realized get the force at second base. He's saying, I got it, I got it. He went for it and then stopped, and maybe Carlos said something, but you know, they both throw well, and you're right. Of course, if they had had that kind of confusion, it'd have been tough to set up to try to throw somebody out at the plate, but A's at least get the runner in.
So now 4-1. It goes as a fielder's choice RBI, 8-6 on the putout. It would have been interesting if Zobrist would have been running. The ball is caught. Guess you can take a chance if you're leading 3-1. So give Canha the RBI. So here's Laurie, who takes a first pitch strike from Miller. And the A's with single runs in the second, third, fifth, and here in the seventh. shifting with Miller. He throws from the far third base side of the rubber. Looks like he's got a little crossover as well on his delivery.
Yeah, look at his landing spot. You can see it, and definitely throws across his body.
And he starts from the third base side, and his landing spot is quite a ways over there. So that's got to be a bit of a different angle, or a different release point as you're looking at it as the hitter. I mean, look where his landing spot is.
Definitely is different.
I mean, if you drew a straight line from home plate to the rubber, that landing spot would be about a foot off of that. Three and one to Laurie, who has walked, struck out, and singled. So 3 and 1. Laurie should get something to hit, and he'll be ready. And he takes a big rip, and he missed it. 93 miles an hour.
Check the left foot and where he does stop, so that's definitely thrown across the body. And while it's a little deceptive for the hitter, but you just have to hope as a pitcher you don't injure yourself, especially your arm.
So full count. Canna runs, and that ball is lined to right field. Gonzalez over, and he makes the catch. Side retired. So another run for the A's. So we're going to the 8th. A's with a 4-1 lead.
To all remaining July home games for just $8 and $9 with the July Ballpark Pass. For one low price, you get access to the rest of the A's July home games, including Fireworks Night games and the Hello Kitty Bobblehead Night. This is a mobile-only offer with all passes accessed through your iPhone or Android phone. Get yours today at athletics.com/ballparkpass. Now, we've been talking about this in June. We could say all. Now we have to say remaining because this is July 1st.
There's Canna, who stays in the game at first base. So today's July 1st. Today is game number 81 for the A's. Over the mound, Sogard throws across his body in a nice play. Arenado is 0 for 4. So he was a smoking hot hitter coming in. He hit 4 home runs over the weekend in San Francisco, but he's been pretty quiet in this series.
Here's your communication, and Sogard cutting in front of Marcus Semien. Strong throw, accurate to the A's first baseman, and he's done this a few times. And Eric Sogard really is kind of taking charge, and that's what you want to see with a couple of guys. And I know both Sogard and Semien have talked how playing as much as they have as a double play combination, it's gotten better for them. And I think there was a sign there. Semien was ready.
Semien throws quickly. Got it. Nice play, Marcus Semien. He was shaded right behind second base. The ball was hit not that hard.
And Gonzalez can run, gets down the line quickly. So yes, going back to the shortstop position, getting it, throwing it quickly, and with a lot on it. That's an excellent play by Marcus Semien, because he took a couple of steps to make sure he had the good grip, knowing that he's going to take a strong throw. And with Cargo jumping to the bag, he just got him. And so Sogard, a great play across his body. Same for Marcus Semien. And you go back to the error he made in the third inning. How quickly you forget because of great plays like that.
Here's Rosario, who takes a first pitch strike.
And Cap, I think there's too much emphasis on, let's say, an error, and you should look at the whole game and say, you know, he made an error.
Yeah.
You know, and the numbers are there, but let's look at some good plays that he's making also.
Rosario is 0 for 3 today and 1 for 10 in the series. Fouls that one straight back. It's funny, you watch highlight shows, Ray. If you watch a Rockies game from Coors Field, there's just balls flying all over. Guys are running, and it's double, triple, and then you watch them, and the A's have a good pitching staff, and they're pretty quiet. Right. And again, it's only a 3-game series, and the A's have done a nice job pitching. But it is a different deal. Yeah. There's no question about it.
Check swing and appeal to first base, but Rosario did not go, evidently. But you think about Coors Field, and we've been there a couple of times, and you see how far the distance is from the cut of the grass to the wall. It is for area. Talking about Kansas City having the largest acreage, if you will.
Pomeranz has it, spins, throws, and Canna does a smart thing, comes off the bag to grab it to make sure it doesn't end up down in the bullpen.
And I think that was going to be a foul ball the way it was hit. And I don't know that either player is going to be able to make a decent play out of it. And top spin, Pomeranz made a good play, a strong throw, but Rosario getting down the line quickly, couple steps to stop the momentum for Pomeranz, and then the spin and throw. Strong throw, off balance, off line, but excellent play by Mark Canna coming off the back. So Tyler Clippard.
So 26 pitches for Pomeranz, and the A's are going to the closer. So Clippard's coming in with a runner at first and 2 outs. When it's time for change, think Speedy Oil Change and Tune Up, your oil change, tune up, and smog experts.
The accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Athletics Investment Group, LLC.
Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. For Colorado.
Hey, there's Matt Weiss. He takes care of the umpires. One of the good guys in the A's organization. I'm sure Alfonso Marquez wants to know how Tom Hallion's doing, and we hope he's doing okay. So here's Tyler Clippard. In this situation, the tying run in the on-deck circle, so it's a safe situation for Clippard. 8th inning. And a pinch hitter, it's Michael Henry, who swings at the first pitch.
And I think that's why the move was made, because Bob Melvin waited until Weiss had made the decision to pinch hit, because Paulson lefty was scheduled, and of course with Pomerantz the lefty on the mound, Pomerantz had difficulties with the lefties, so Clippard comes in trying to get the 4-out save.
Scott Oberg is up. McHenry swings and misses, and you wonder too, Ray, if McHenry were to get on, Hundley is your on-deck hitter, I bet we would see Tulowitzki.
That's a good point, because it would be the optimum time to pinch hit. A couple of runners on, tying run at the plate.
So a big out here to get Michael McHenry. Pitches outside. Rosario is the runner at first. He had the 2-out single. Strike 3 call. McHenry could not pull the trigger. Side retired. So Clippard comes in, strikes him out. Side retired. Bottom of the 8th coming up. It's the A's 4 and the Rockies 1. One 5-1 for Colorado, 4-8-1 for the Athletics. The Rockies' offense has really been pretty quiet this whole series, as that group has scored a total of 4 runs. Jesse Hahn was good, a couple of hits for Burns, and the A's trying to win the series, and they're 3 outs away from doing that. And a bunch of changes. See, Brandon Barnes comes in the game. He's now in left field. Rafael Anoa moves in from left field to play shortstop. And Daniel Scalzo goes from short to first. Justin Miller stays out there. And Miller will face Sogard, Simeon, and Burns. First pitch a strike to Sogard, who is 0 for 2. He's got a sacrifice fly. That was in the second inning. He is also grounded to short, and he has struck out. Drives this one to left center, hit pretty well. Blackman on the move, and Blackman on the warning track makes the catch. So 1 out here in the bottom of the 8th inning, and that'll bring up Simeon. Mariners kind of blew that game open down in San Diego. They scored 4 in the top of the 9th inning. Nelson Cruz hit his 20th home run. So the Mariners 7, the Padres nothing in the bottom of the 9th inning. Mariners trying to sweep that mini 2-game series. Kind of what the A's did down in San Diego.
Yes, they did. Yeah.
A line drive right into the glove of Manoah for the second out. A's are 4-2 in interleague play. After this game, they'll have 13 interleague games left. The Rockies are 1-7 in interleague. So 2 quick outs, and here's Burns, who is 2 for 3. Triple, double, walk, and 2 runs scored. Triple was his 5th of the year. He's got 9 doubles, 5 triples, and a couple of home runs to go along with 16 steals.
And he might be the Major League Rookie of the Month. Who knows? With his month of June, which he's hit over 300 and stolen bases, done everything to help the A's have a winning record in the month of June.
Well, if he keeps playing the way he's playing, he's going to be Rookie of the Year.
That's a great point.
He probably already is. One and 1 to Burns. It's funny too, now when Burns comes up, you know, you look at the defensive alignment because of just the way he slaps it around, but you also look at the outfielders, and I mean they're actually playing deep for Burns.
For him, yes.
We've seen outfield play much more shallow than that when Burns is up.
Now this series, the Rockies have played him deeper than probably anybody that we've seen so far this year. Maybe they just don't realize they're not at Coors Field with all that outfield. But Billy Burns has hit 2 home runs and not expected to hit a bunch. It'll be best if he doesn't.
Right to the end of the A's dugout.
But you pointed out in our open cut the few strikeouts for Josh Reddick.
Yeah.
In his, and I would have to think, just, you know, not really looking at the numbers, but watching Billy Burns and the way he is able to make contact, it's rare when he does strike out. And Reddick has put the ball in play, had a big 2-out RBI hit in the 3rd inning, which was a big one, especially after leadoff triple by Billy Burns.
So 1 and 2. And that is a swing and a miss by Burns. He's tagged. Ray, you jinxed him. It's your fault. Top of the 9th coming up. Clipper trying to save it.
I have that kind of power.
So 4-1 A's lead, 3 outs away from win number 36 on the year. Sam Full takes over in left field, so Zobrist is out. And Clippard will face Hundley, leading things off here in the ninth. First pitch to Hundley is a changeup that Hundley waves at, and it's 0-1. Hundley has walked, doubled in a run, and struck out. Clippard came in and struck out McHenry to end the 8th inning with a runner aboard. Clippard looking for save number 14. Vogt sets up outside. The ball runs inside. It's 1-2. It'll be a 4-out save if Clippard can get it. Swing and a miss. He struck him out.
Here's today's Honda player of the game. It is Jesse Hahn, the Honda player of the game, and Jesse Hahn did a great job looking to even his record back to 6-6. Good curveball today, extra on his fastball when he needed it, and he did a great job. Last 8 starts, 2.42 earned run average. Had a little bit of a hiccup against the Royals. He said just get back to drawing board, work, and try to do better next start, which he did a great job. So back in Connecticut, Kate and Fred Hahn. The family of Jesse happy that it's a day game. They don't have to stay up to 2 o'clock in the morning to watch their son pitch. But he did a great job today. And if Clipper can close it out, he'll get another win. And the A's will win the series.
Descalso has struck out twice and walked. There's a strike.
How about that? That's a talk about Exmo. Talk about floating. What a great shot. Count the seams on that ball.
And that one hit high and deep down the right field line, but foul. You know, you showed that great shot, and if you followed that up right with somebody throwing a fastball, you would realize how much more the ball spins with a fastball as opposed to that type of pitch, which the ball almost comes out. There's a little backward movement to it. One and two. There is the fastball.
Well, the curveball they struck out Henry to end last inning. That's a pitch I'm sure the guys who just as you asked, here you come.
See, look at that spin compared to what we saw in the other pitch. This one will be playable. Sogard calls off Cannon. So 2 outs here in the 9th inning.
That if Tyler Clippard only threw the fastball and changeup, a hitter could say, okay, I got a 50-50 chance. Because if he throws one or the other, if I'm looking for it, pretty good swing by Descalso, because
number 43
he popped it up. But the curveball to McHenry kind of sets things apart because it's a different pitch.
So here's Manoah, who's 0 for 3. The first pitch is a strike. The Mariners did finish that game off 7-0. So Seattle will come to the Coliseum feeling a little bit better after beating the Padres twice. Should be a good series this weekend. 4 games, A's Mariners.
Well, you cannot beat the old baseball game on America's birthday. Big weekend, 4th of July weekend, always special. The only difference is there are no doubleheaders. It's just one game, but still, America's birthday. That will be Saturday the 4th. That's a day game. Sunday the 5th, a day game after night game on Thursday, tomorrow night, and then 6:05 fireworks on Friday.
So 1-2. Clippard tried to finish it off. Foul at the plate of Noah. Just fouled off that changeup splitter from Clippard. Today's postgame live coming up. We'll have an interview for you. Maybe we'll go a little country breakfast for you. What do you think about that?
Yeah, sounds good.
1-2 pitch is hit in the air toward Burns. Now he's got to hustle in, and he will track it down, and that's the ball game. So the Athletics win the series over the Colorado Rockies. Jesse Hahn gets his 6th win of the year. Clippard gets his 14th save. It took 3 hours and 14 minutes, and it was played in front of 17,655. Final score today from the O.co. The Athletics 4 and the Rockies 1. You've been watching Oakland A's baseball on Comcast Sportsnet California, part of the NBC Sports Group. Don't go away. A's postgame live with Brody, Bibb, and Eric starts right now.